Zuri lived in the small town of Lakesa, a place where everyone knew each other and where beauty was often measured by how slim or stylish a woman looked. She was a cheerful young woman, always ready to help her neighbors or share a laugh at the market. But behind her smile, Zuri carried a quiet sadness. Every time she saw her reflection, she felt she wasn't enough. Her two closest friends, Mina and Talia, were always the center of attention. They were slimmer, wore bright dresses, and spoke with confidence. When they walked through the market, men greeted them with admiration and women complimented their looks. Zuri often stood beside them, feeling invisible. She tried to smile, but deep down she wondered if anyone ever noticed her the same way. At home, Zuri would sometimes sit in front of her small mirror, touching her cheeks and stomach with her hands. "If only I looked like Mina," she whispered, "then maybe people would notice me too." She didn't hate herself, she only wished she could change a little, just enough to feel beautiful. Her mother, an old woman named Lami, often told her, "My daughter, beauty is not what people see first. It is what they feel when they meet you." But Zuri was young and the world around her made her think differently. On every poster, every phone screen, and every street corner she saw pictures of women who looked nothing like her, tall, thin, and polished. One Sunday morning Mina and Talia came to visit. They were both wearing new dresses, their hair shining in the sun. "Zuri, you need to join us tomorrow," Mina said with excitement. "We are going to the city for a beauty meeting. There's a woman there who helps people become slimmer. Everyone says her method works like magic." Zuri looked at them curiously. "Magic? What kind of magic?" she asked. Talia laughed softly. "Not real magic, silly. It's something she gives you to drink. You'll see results in days. People say it changes your life." Zuri smiled politely, but her heart raced. Could it really be true? Could she finally look like them? She imagined herself walking through the market, hearing people say, "Look at Zuri. She's glowing." That night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Mina's words. She thought about the long stares Mina and Talia received, the compliments, the confidence they carried. She wanted that. She wanted to feel proud when she looked in the mirror. But deep inside another voice whispered, her mother's voice, "Be careful what you wish for, my child. Not everything that shines is gold." The next morning, Zuri went to the river to wash clothes. As she bent to rinse her fabric, she saw her reflection in the water. Her round face smiled back, her skin glowed in the sunlight. For a moment she saw beauty in her own image. But then she thought of the others again, and the feeling faded. While hanging her clothes to dry, her neighbor, Mama Jalea, stopped by. "Zuri, my dear, you always look so full of life," she said kindly. "Don't let people make you feel small. You are beautiful in your own way." Zuri smiled but didn't answer. Compliments like that never stayed long in her heart. She wanted something more, something the whole town could see. That evening she met Mina and Talia again. They showed her pictures on their phones, slim women smiling, their clothes fitting perfectly. "See? This is what we want," Mina said eagerly. "It's not wrong to want better for yourself." Zuri nodded slowly. Maybe Mina was right. Maybe she had been too afraid to change. "All right," she said, trying to sound confident. "I'll come with you." The next morning the three friends boarded a small bus to the city. Zuri's heart beat fast as they passed through fields and dusty roads. The city was big and bright, full of noise and color. People hurried in all directions, and everywhere she looked, she saw posters promising beauty, success, and happiness. They arrived at a small shop painted pink, with a shiny sign that said, "Glow within you." Inside, the air smelled of sweet perfume. Behind the counter stood a woman dressed in white, her face covered in makeup. She greeted them with a wide smile. "Welcome, my beautiful sisters," she said warmly. "You have come to change your lives." Zuri felt nervous but excited. She watched as Mina and Talia spoke confidently with the woman. They talked about their goals: smaller waists, lighter skin, more glow. The woman nodded and smiled. When it was Zuri's turn, she looked into her eyes and said, "You have a beautiful face, my dear, but you hide it under doubt. Let me help you bring it out." Zuri's heart melted. Finally, someone seemed to understand her. She listened as the woman explained about special drinks and routines. Everything sounded easy, too easy. Still, Zuri believed. She imagined herself walking back into Lakesa, her new beauty shocking everyone. As they left the shop, Mina hugged her. "See? Soon you'll thank us," she said cheerfully. Zuri smiled, clutching the small bottle in her hands. That night, back in her small room, she looked at herself in the mirror again. The bottle sat on her table, glowing under the candlelight. Her reflection seemed to ask, "Are you sure? Zuri whispered softly, "If only I could be like them." She opened the bottle, sniffed the sweet scent and smiled. She didn't know yet what was inside or what it would cost her. All she knew was that she wanted to change. Outside, the wind blew gently through the trees. Somewhere in the night, her mother's words echoed in her memory, a soft warning she didn't hear clearly enough. Zuri lay down, thinking about her future, a future where everyone would admire her. But as she closed her eyes, the stars above seemed to whisper a truth she didn't yet understand. Not every dream that shines is safe to chase. And so, her journey began, not toward beauty, but toward a lesson she never expected to learn. Days passed, and Zuri could not stop thinking about what Talia had said. The words "miracle drink" kept ringing in her mind. Every morning when she saw herself in the mirror, she touched her waist and sighed. She imagined how her clothes would fit better, how people would notice her, and how Mina and Talia would finally see her as their equal. The thought filled her with hope and fear at the same time. One afternoon, Talia came to visit. She was wearing a new dress, her face glowing with confidence. Zuri looked at her in awe. "You look beautiful," she said softly. Talia smiled and twirled around. "Thank you, my dear. It's the drink I told you about. Really works. I feel light, my skin is shining, and people can't stop talking about me." Zuri's eyes widened. "Is it really that powerful?" she asked. Talia nodded proudly. "Yes. You only need a few sips a day. It burns fat quickly. I got it from a woman in the city. She calls it the glow formula. It's expensive, but trust me, it's worth it." Zuri felt her heart beat faster. She had been saving a little money from her sales at the market, hoping to buy new clothes. But now she thought, what are clothes without a beautiful body to wear them? "Can you take me there?" Zuri asked eagerly. Talia smiled and leaned closer. "Of course, my sister. But promise me something, don't tell anyone, not even Mina. It's our little secret." Zuri hesitated for a moment, then nodded. She felt special, chosen. That night she couldn't sleep. She lay awake, thinking of how her life would change once she started taking the drink. She imagined walking through the market, everyone turning to look at her, whispering, "Zuri has changed. She's glowing." The next day, Zuri woke up early, dressed neatly, and met Talia at the bus stop. They boarded a small bus that rumbled along the dusty road toward the city. As the wind brushed her face, Zuri felt nervous but excited. She didn't know what to expect, but she trusted Talia. After all, they had been friends for years. When they reached the city, Zuri was amazed. Tall buildings, loud voices, and the smell of roasted corn filled the air. The streets were busy and people moved quickly. Talia led her through narrow lanes until they reached a small shop painted bright pink. The sign above the door read, "Beauty Haven." Inside, the air smelled sweet and strong. Shelves were filled with colorful bottles and boxes. Behind the counter stood a woman dressed in white with shiny earrings and smooth skin. She greeted them with a wide smile. "Welcome, my beautiful sisters," she said warmly. "How can I help you shine today?" Talia spoke first. "My friend here wants to look her best. I told her about your miracle drink." The woman's eyes moved to Zuri, studying her face. "You have a kind face," she said softly. "But I can see what you want: confidence, attention, admiration. You don't need to worry. My drink will change everything." Zuri blushed. "Is it really safe?" she asked quietly. The woman chuckled. "Safe? My dear, I've been helping women for years. You'll be surprised by how fast it works. In 3 days you'll see the difference." Zuri looked at the rows of bottles, red, green, blue, all neatly arranged. "Which one is it?" she asked. The woman took a small golden bottle from the shelf and placed it in Zuri's hands. It was light and smelled like fruit. "This one," she said. "A few sips every morning before you eat. Don't take too much or it will work too fast." "How much does it cost?" Zuri asked. 50,000, the woman replied casually. Zuri's heart sank. That was almost all the money she had saved for months. She hesitated, looking at the bottle again. Talia whispered, "Don't worry, Zuri. Think of it as an investment in yourself. You'll thank me later." Zuri thought for a moment, then slowly reached into her bag and handed over the money. As she held the golden bottle, she felt a mix of pride and fear. It was her first step toward the change she had always wanted. On the bus ride back to Lakesa, Zuri held the bottle tightly on her lap, staring at it as if it contained her dreams. "Talia," she said softly, "what's inside this drink?" Talia smiled faintly and looked out the window. "It works, Zuri. That's all you need to know." Zuri frowned. "But shouldn't we know what we're drinking?" Talia laughed lightly. "You worry too much. Do you think everyone who's beautiful knows every secret behind it? Sometimes it's better not to ask too many questions. Zuri fell silent. She wanted to trust her friend, but a small voice inside her whispered doubt. Still, when she looked at Talia's glowing skin and slim figure, her doubt faded. If it worked for her, it will work for me, she thought. When they returned home, Zuri hid the bottle under her bed. That night, she couldn't stop thinking about it. The liquid sparkled faintly in the candlelight. She imagined herself transformed, lighter, admired, and confident. She touched the bottle gently and smiled. Her mother knocked on the door. Zuri, are you still awake? Yes, Mama, Zuri answered quickly, hiding the bottle. Her mother entered, holding a small oil lamp. You seem distracted these days, she said kindly. Is something wrong? Zuri forced a smile. Nothing, Mama. I'm just tired. Her mother looked at her with gentle eyes. Remember, my child, the best change is the one that comes from patience. Quick things fade fast. Zuri nodded but said nothing. After her mother left, she took the bottle again and whispered, I just want to be beautiful, Mama. That's all. The next morning, as the sun rose over Lakesa, Zuri woke up early. She held the golden bottle and stared at it. She hesitated, remembering her mother's words, but the thought of Talia's glowing face pushed her forward. She opened the bottle slowly and sniffed the sweet scent. It smelled harmless, even pleasant. She poured a small amount into a cup and took a sip. The taste was strange, bitter at first, then sweet. She set the cup down and looked at her reflection in the small mirror. This is the beginning, she whispered to herself. A new me. Outside, the town was waking up. Roosters crowing, children laughing, the market opening. Zuri smiled faintly, imagining how everyone would look at her soon. She didn't know that the golden drink she held carried more than promises. It carried lessons she was yet to learn. That night, she wrote in her small notebook, Day 1, I feel hopeful. I will be beautiful soon. She didn't write about her doubts. She only wrote about her dreams. At first, everything seemed perfect. Zuri woke up early each morning, opened the golden bottle, and took a small sip of the sweet liquid. It felt magical, like a secret power running through her veins. After 2 days, she noticed her clothes felt looser. Her face looked slimmer. When she walked through the market, people stared at her with surprise. Zuri, you look different, Mina said one morning. Have you been exercising? Zuri smiled proudly. Something like that, she replied, hiding the truth. She loved hearing those words. Every compliment made her want to drink more. She began skipping meals, thinking the drink was all she needed. She wanted faster results. By the 4th day, she started feeling dizzy, but she told herself it was just part of the process. Beauty takes pain, she whispered to her reflection. But when she looked closer in the mirror, her smile faded. Her skin had lost its glow. Her eyes looked tired. Still, she convinced herself it was temporary. At the market, Talia noticed her pale face. Zuri, are you okay? She asked. I'm fine, Zuri said quickly, forcing a smile. It's working, isn't it? Look at me. Talia nodded slowly. Yes, but you look different. Maybe you should rest. Zuri laughed weakly. I don't need rest. I just need to finish the bottle. That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Zuri sat on her bed feeling strange. Her hands trembled slightly and her stomach ached. She tried to eat dinner, but the smell of food made her feel sick. She pushed the plate away. Her mother noticed. You haven't eaten properly all week, she said softly. Are you sure you're not ill? Zuri shook her head. No, Mama. I'm just not hungry. Her mother sighed. You've lost too much weight. You need strength, not just beauty. But Zuri didn't listen. She was too focused on her reflection. Every time she saw her smaller body, she felt a strange mix of pride and fear. It was what she had wanted, yet it didn't feel right. By the 7th day, her body began to weaken. She could barely get out of bed. Her head pounded and her lips were dry. She reached for the golden bottle, but even lifting it felt heavy. Just one more sip, she whispered, her voice shaking. Outside, Mina and Talia came to visit. When they saw her, they gasped. Zuri, what happened to you? Mina cried. Zuri tried to smile but couldn't. I'm fine, she said weakly. Talia stepped closer, her face full of guilt. You don't look fine. You look sick. I just need rest, Zuri whispered. But her voice sounded far away. Mina turned to Talia angrily. What did you give her? Talia froze. It was just a beauty drink. The woman in the city said it was safe. Safe. Mina shouted. Look at her. She can't even stand. Zuri closed her eyes. Her body felt light, too light, as if it were floating. The room spun around her. She could hear her friends arguing, but their voices faded like distant echoes. Her mother rushed in moments later and saw her daughter collapsed on the floor. "Zuri," she cried, lifting her into her arms. "What did you do to yourself?" Talia began to cry. "I didn't know it would hurt her. I just wanted her to feel beautiful." The old healer of the village, Mama Neo, was called immediately. She came with her small bag of herbs and a serious face. "What has she taken?" she asked. Talia hesitated. "A drink, from the city." Mama Neo's eyes darkened. "The ones that promise fast beauty are often full of poison." She knelt beside Zuri and placed her hand on her chest. "Her heart is weak. She needs rest, water and care." For days, Zuri lay in bed, her body trembling. Her mother stayed by her side, feeding her broth and praying. The golden bottle sat untouched on the table, its shine dull and empty. Sometimes, in the quiet of night, Zuri would whisper, "Why do I feel worse when I'm supposed to feel beautiful?" Her mother would hold her hand gently and say, "Because true beauty is never found in a bottle, my child. It lives in the heart, not the mirror." Zuri began to understand, but her recovery was slow. Her body was weak and her mind was heavy with regret. She remembered how she used to laugh, how she used to dance without caring what others thought. She missed that version of herself, the one who didn't compare, who was full of life. One morning she gathered the strength to sit up. The golden bottle caught her eye. She stared at it for a long moment. Then, with trembling hands, she took it and walked outside. The sun was warm, the sky clear. She opened the bottle and poured the remaining liquid onto the ground. The smell of sweetness filled the air for a moment, then disappeared into the dust. Mina and Talia, who had come to visit, watched silently. Talia spoke first. "I'm sorry, Zuri. I should never have told you about it." Zuri smiled weakly. "It's not your fault, Talia. I wanted to be someone else. But now I see, trying to be someone else almost made me lose myself." Talia wiped her tears. "You're still beautiful, Zuri. Even like this." Zuri nodded. "Maybe beauty isn't something you drink or buy. Maybe it's something you remember when you stop pretending." The three friends stood there quietly as the sun rose higher. Zuri felt weak, but for the first time in weeks, her heart felt calm. She didn't need a golden bottle anymore. She only needed time, and the courage to love herself again. That night she wrote in her notebook, "Day 7, I am weak but I am learning. Beauty is not in my shape but in my peace." She closed the book and smiled faintly, whispering, "Tomorrow will be better." The night was calm in Lakesa. The stars glowed softly, and the wind carried the smell of the evening rain. Zuri sat by her window, brushing her hair slowly. She had begun to feel better, though her body was still weak. The golden bottle still sat on her table, half full, its shiny label promising beauty and confidence. She had not touched it for days, but something inside her still wondered if it had really been the cause of her pain. Her mother had gone to visit a neighbor and the house was quiet. Zuri closed her eyes, listening to the crickets outside. Then suddenly she heard hurried footsteps. Before she could stand, Mina burst through the door, breathless and shaking. "Zuri," she cried. "It's bad, very bad." Zuri stood quickly, fear flashing in her eyes. "What happened, Mina?" Mina's hands trembled as she held onto the door frame. "It's the drink. The one from the city. The women who took it, they're all sick. Some are in the hospital. They can't even walk." Zuri froze, her brush slipping from her hand and falling to the floor. Her heart began to race. "What do you mean?" she whispered. Mina wiped her tears. "Talia just told me. The police went to the shop in the city. The drink isn't real, it's made with dangerous chemicals. They said it damages the body little by little. It's poison, Zuri. Poison." Zuri stared at her, unable to speak. Her hands shook as she turned slowly toward the golden bottle on the table. It stood there, innocent and shining, as if it were proud of what it had done. She walked over to it, picked it up and held it tightly. Her throat felt dry. "I almost finished this," she said softly. "If I had taken one more sip." Her voice broke. The bottle slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor. The sweet smell filled the air again, a smell that once promised beauty, now only bringing fear. Mina ran to her and held her shoulders. "Zuri, thank God you stopped drinking it," she said, tears running down her face. "You could have died." Zuri fell to her knees, staring at the broken glass. The golden label lay torn in the dust. "I wanted to be beautiful," she said in a trembling voice. "I wanted people to see me and smile. But I didn't know what I was giving up to look like them." Mina hugged her tightly. You didn't know. We all wanted the same thing. Talia said she stopped too when she started feeling sick. She scared Zuri. She said she'll never touch anything like that again. Zuri's mother came rushing in just then, alarmed by the noise. What's going on here? She asked, seeing the broken bottle. Mina looked down sadly. It's poison, Mama. The drink everyone was talking about, it's killing people. Her mother's face turned pale. She looked at Zuri with tears in her eyes and whispered, My child, you were so close to danger. Zuri leaned into her mother's arms and cried silently. The truth hit her hard. The thing she had trusted, the thing she thought would make her perfect, had almost destroyed her. That night she could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the faces of the women in the city, smiling in the photos, proud of their new bodies, not knowing what waited for them after. When dawn came, she went outside. The morning light spread softly over the fields. Birds sang in the distance, and the earth smelled fresh after the rain. She walked slowly to the small garden behind her house. The soil was damp beneath her feet. She sat on a rock, thinking of all the things she had done for beauty, the hunger, the pain, the shame, the lies she told herself. Her reflection in the small puddle beside her looked tired but real. Her mother came outside and placed a blanket around her shoulders. You've been quiet since last night, she said gently. Zuri nodded. I was just thinking. She picked up a small stone and threw it into the puddle. All this time I thought they were lucky, Mina, Talia, those women from the city. But now I see they were only hiding pain behind their smiles. If only I knew what they took to lose weight, Mama. I would have never tried. Her mother sighed deeply. People will always chase what shines, Zuri. But not everything that shines is gold. You are beautiful the way you are, not because of your body but because of your heart. Zuri looked up at her mother, eyes full of tears. I understand that now, she said softly. I just wish I had known it before. Later that day, she and Mina went through the village, warning others about the drink. They told every woman they met, don't buy it. It's not what it seems. Some were shocked, some were scared, and some refused to believe them. Beauty shouldn't hurt, Zuri told one woman in the market. If something promises you quick perfection, it's lying. Word spread quickly across Lakesa. The golden bottles disappeared from shelves. People started talking about the danger and about Zuri, the girl who almost lost herself chasing beauty. That evening, as the sun set, Zuri sat outside again. She felt lighter not because of the drink but because of the truth. She no longer needed to hide behind fake promises or empty bottles. She whispered softly to herself, maybe beauty isn't about changing how I look. Maybe it's about accepting who I am, and never risking my life to be someone else. Mina sat beside her and smiled. You look more beautiful now than ever, Zuri. You look free. Zuri smiled back, her eyes warm and calm. That's because I finally understand, she said quietly. True beauty doesn't cost your health, your peace, or your life. It grows from inside, and it never fades. The two friends sat there watching the orange sky melt into night. Zuri's heart felt peaceful for the first time in a long while. The bottle was gone, the lies were gone, and all that remained was truth, simple, painful, and pure. And as the wind passed gently through the trees, she whispered once more, not in regret but in wisdom, if only I knew what they took to lose weight, I would have never tried. Months passed and the rains returned to Lakesa. The land became green again, and with it, Zuri's spirit began to bloom. She woke early each morning, stepping out into the golden sunlight that spread over the fields. Her body had grown strong once more, and her laughter, which had been silent for so long, now filled the air again. Each day she worked on her small farm behind the house. Her hands, though rough from labor, felt alive with purpose. She planted maize, watered her vegetables, and fed the chickens that ran freely around her yard. Every seed she placed in the soil reminded her of a lesson she had learned, that real growth takes time. It cannot be rushed. Her mother often watched from the doorway, smiling softly. You look like yourself again, my daughter, she said one morning. Zuri looked up from the soil, her face shining with sweat and sunlight. I feel like myself again, Mama. And this time I won't forget who I am. In the evenings, the village children would pass by her home, calling her name. Zuri, tell us a story, they would shout. She would sit with them under the mango tree, her soft voice carrying lessons of patience, kindness, and love for oneself. One afternoon, as she sat at the market selling her vegetables, a young girl approached her shyly. The girl's name was Aluna, and she was around 16 with bright eyes and a worried face. Miss Zuri, the girl began softly, everyone says you used to look different. But now you look happy and beautiful. How did you do it? Zuri looked at her for a moment, remembering her own reflection in the mirror months ago, the pale skin, the hollow eyes, the weakness. She smiled gently and said, I stopped hurting myself to please others. That's how. Aluna frowned. But I feel ugly. I see girls in the city who look perfect. I want to look like them. Zuri shook her head. Listen, my dear. The mirror shows only your face but not your worth. If you keep trying to be someone else, you'll lose the best part of who you are. True beauty doesn't live in the eyes of others. It lives in your peace, in your joy, in your health. The girl nodded slowly, as if her heart understood something her mind could not yet say. So, beauty is not about how you look? Zuri smiled. No, Aluna. Beauty is about how you live. From that day, girls often came to visit her. Some wanted advice. Some wanted to hear her story. Others just wanted to sit with her because they said being near her made them feel lighter, as if her peace was something they could borrow for a little while. Zuri never turned them away. She shared her story honestly, how she had chased perfection and found pain, how she had lost herself and then found strength again. Sometimes she said softly, I almost died because I didn't think I was enough. But now I know, enough is all I ever needed to be. Word spread through Lakesa and even nearby villages. People began to see Zuri not just as a survivor but as a teacher, someone who had faced darkness and come out brighter. One day Talia came to visit her. She looked healthier too, her cheeks full again and her eyes clear. The two women sat together under the same mango tree where they had once shared secrets about beauty drinks and dreams of perfection. I'm sorry for everything, Talia said quietly. I never knew what we were doing to ourselves. Zuri took her hand and smiled. It's in the past, Talia. What matters is that we learned. We can't undo what happened, but we can make sure no other woman goes through it. Talia nodded. You've changed, Zuri. You seem peaceful. Zuri looked up at the sky, where birds flew freely over the fields. Peace is the real beauty, she said softly. When you find it, everything else follows. The women laughed together, not with guilt, but with understanding. It was laughter born from healing. Months later, the village held a small harvest festival. There was music, food, and joy everywhere. People danced, children played, and elders shared stories by the fire. Zuri stood among them, wearing a simple yellow dress that flowed in the wind. She wasn't the slimmest or the most glamorous woman there, but when she smiled, everyone noticed. It was a smile full of truth, the kind that made others feel beautiful too. As the drums played, Mina raised a cup of juice and shouted, To Zuri! For reminding us what beauty really means. Everyone cheered. Zuri laughed, covering her face shyly. I only reminded you of what you already knew, she said. That night, as the stars brightened the dark sky, Zuri walked home quietly. The road was peaceful and the crickets sang around her. She felt grateful, not for her looks but for her life, her health, her heart. She had once chased a false dream, but now she lived her truth. Before going to bed, she stood before the mirror once more. For the first time, she didn't sigh or wish to change anything. She smiled at her reflection, not because she saw perfection but because she saw peace. She whispered softly, Don't hurt yourself to fit in. True beauty is being healthy and happy. Her mother, hearing her from the next room, smiled to herself. That's my Zuri, she whispered back. In time, her words spread across Lakesa. People began to say them in the market, in schools, and even at weddings. Whenever someone doubted their worth, others would remind them. If only they knew what Zuri learned, beauty begins inside. And so, Zuri's story became more than a warning. It became a message of hope, that no matter how far someone strays chasing false beauty, they can always return to themselves.